Здравейте отново на всички, които се присъединяват към тази презентация. Отново бих искал да се извиня на тези от вас, които имаха технически проблем с присъединяването към първата презентация. То беше свързано една с една точица, която очевидно не сме забелязали, когато сме ви изпращали презентацията. Всички останали линкове са без проблем, надявам се. Ние ги проверихме и едва ли бихте имали това предизвикателство, така че наслаждавайте се на презентациите на нашите колеги. Днес имаме удоволствието Габриеле Фарина да ни направи презентацията на Политехнико di Milano. Hello, Gabriele. Thank you for joining in.
Hello, здрави.
Здравей. Ние ще започнем с едно видео, което моята колега Тинка ще пусне в началото, за да може да дадем възможност и на повече хора да се включат, а пък и да се запознаете предварително с Политехнико. Разбира се, още веднъж тук можете да задавате своите въпроси в чатбокса и колегите ми по време на презентацията ще отговарят, а последните 10 минути и Габриели ще мине през някои от тези въпроси, за да може да отговори на тях. Наслаждавайте се на видеото.
There's a need for transformation that cannot be overlooked. There are no easy solutions. We must push forward. We're living in an intense, vibrant period of history, and it's becoming increasingly urgent to plan our country's future. It will take creativity, flexibility, and technological innovation. We need speed and expertise to manage this change. At this moment, Milan's reputation is at an all-time high. Politecnico is an attractive, large, open laboratory in the heart of Milan, featuring the innovative study programs needed to prepare for new professions and to face new challenges. The research and experimentation of today will illuminate tomorrow. We need creativity and intuition. This is a great opportunity. The challenges that lie before us are tough. Now's the time to take our destiny into our own hands, to seize the day, to pioneer the change. We must stay switched on. There's a need for transformation that cannot be overlooked.
Dobro jutro. Welcome everyone. So I'm Gabriele Farina from the International Office of Politecnico di Milano, and today I will talk about a little bit about our university, our technical university, what we have to offer to you. First of all, you said you already saw in the video some wonderful images of our university. However, I would like to point out a little bit where exactly our university is, just as a brief introduction. Maybe you already know the city of Milan, which is in Lombardy, which is the most productive and more rich and industrialized region in Italy, which is the very heart of the very beating heart of the Italian economy. It is the most European city in Italy because it has a very very cosmopolitan vocation, which is, as I love to say, it's the link between Italy and the rest of Europe and the world. So this is our best city for international people and international students. This doesn't mean that it's just an industrial city. It is a city where history and industrial collide and are mixing together, which you can join both an historical atmosphere and a cosmopolitan city by living in Milan. This also means that it's a student city. There are many universities in Milan, and Politecnico is one of the most prestigious in Milan and also in Italy, since we are the most important technical university in Italy. Of course, we are not located just in Milan, but we also have campuses in other cities around Lombardy. For example, Lecco, Como, or Mantova. These aren't that far from Milan, though, just 1 hour by train if when they are far. So if you want to study in one of these campuses, it doesn't mean that you are far from Milan or you are in a peripheral city. No, they are all very lively and very active cities. These are some figures about Politecnico Milan. I already said that we are the most important technical university in Italy, but these are some of our figures. For example, we are the first university in Italy for project funded by the EU community. We are the #1 for patents and for spin-off, and we have lots of laboratories because being a technical university means that you're also very connected with research activity. We are not just a vocational university. We are a university, especially for engineering, architecture, and design. These are our 3 main areas of studies. And we do a lot of research in Politecnico. We have a lot of laboratory, and we put a very strong stress on practical activities. For example, we have the wind tunnel or the polyfab for nano devices. So we do really a lot of research, which is funded also by the government, but not only, because we are really well connected with the industry in our region and with many international firms and companies. So we have both private funding and public funding. We also make some work of explaining to the world what research in Politecnico is like. We've done this series of webinars, which is called In the Future, because it is really connected to things that will be important or are important right now for our lives. For example, trash or sustainability, which are the main focus of those series of webinars. But we do that just to explain to the broad public how is to do research in Politecnico and how we really impact on our industries and our societies. These are the very vast areas of knowledge, also entirely in scientific fields. We also have a couple more websites for research, which are Frontiere and Progressing Research in Politecnico, which are also dedicated to explain the research that are carried out Polytechnical. The first one is more generic to have a broad perspective on all our research activities, and the second one is more focused about the European Green Deal and how our research impacts on Green Deal. Of course, I've mentioned Lombardy at the beginning, which is our region. Maybe you know that because we were the first one to be hit by the virus, the COVID.
Gabriele, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we have a couple of messages in the chat box that people cannot hear you very well. If you could,
Here,
I don't know, speak up or, yeah, we'll see.
That's strange. Now, it's
I think, yeah.
it is better. Okay.
I think it's better. We'll see if the people start writing again that they can't hear very well. We'll tell you. Thank you.
Okay. As I was saying, we were the first region in Italy to be hit by COVID, and but this doesn't mean that we were unprepared, because we were able to switch to remote learning in a couple of weeks. Of course, we also, since we are a technical university, we also contributed in fighting against the virus by producing disinfectants in our labs. Nowadays, lectures and lessons are came back to normal. They are entirely in presence. Of course, we are required to wear a mask for the time being, but we also take care of the safety of our students. So we are our internal protocols in order to keep our students safe. But we are not switching to distance learning, because we really believe that studies in presence have add a value to the experience of students and to the quality of his learning. Plus, since you are a technical university, you can work in labs from the internet, as you can imagine. So we have our protocols, and we are ensuring that our students are safe despite the lessons in presence. Coming to internationalization, I mentioned at the beginning that we are a cosmopolitan city. This is our latest numbers about international students. Of course, most of our students international students are concentrated in the postgraduate program, because they are almost entirely taught in English. The vast majority of them is taught in English, whereas for undergraduate we only have 2 programs in English. But as a general rule, we have a lot more courses in the postgraduate course. So as you can see from the map, we welcome students from every part of the world, from Europe, from the Americas, from Asia, and so on. This means that we also have an international staff, because a lot of our professors, our teaching staff comes from a very different background and country. For example, we have the pleasure to have 2 Pritzker Prize to teach in Milano, which are Castello Segima and Eduardo Soto-Demora, they won Pritzker Prize back in the day. And if you don't know, Pritzker Prize, it's like the Nobel for architecture. So yeah, we also have a very high quality teaching staff. And these are our rankings. I've mentioned that we are the first university in Italy for technical subjects, but this means that we are also very high in the world. We are in the top 10 for what concerns design, the 10th for what concerns architecture, and 20 for engineering. We are among the most prestigious technical university in the world, and especially in Europe. This means that we are also linked with these other universities, because we have a lot of study exchange programs, and we have a lot of common research activities and joint research activities with our universities, such as the Polytechnic School of Zurich, or the Aachen University, or the TU Delft. So we are really well connected also with other prestigious universities. This is just a brief explanation of how the Italian education system works. As you know, in Italy, we tend to study in a high school a little bit more than in other countries. So we do 13 years of schooling. And after that, there is the laurea. which are the Bachelor of Science, which lasts 3 years. Having a bachelor degree gives you access to the Master of Science, which is our Laurea Magistrale, and it lasts 2 years. And after that, if you are interested in research, which I mentioned before that we are really focused on research activities, there is the PhD, which is our Dottorato di Ricerca, which is not exactly a study program, but is between. It's a program where you learn how to do research, and it's the starting point if you want to pursue an academic career. This doesn't mean that Dottorato is useful only for academic careers, because in many prestigious and big firm, they carry out also internal research activities. So this is available also for the world when you are searching for a job in a tech company. Coming in more into detail in our program, as I mentioned at the beginning, our English program taught in English are concentrated in the level called the Master of Science, which we have access to after the bachelor degree. This is just a brief overview of our program. Of course, I cannot explain every program in details. These are our program of architecture, the architectural design, building architecture, landscape architecture. We have many fields. These are our programs of design, which are not, maybe you know Milan for the fashion industry, but this doesn't mean that we are focused only on this field, because we also are very high ranked for product design or industrial design and this sort of thing. Since I mentioned at the beginning that our region is very industrialized and well connected with industry. And of course, we have nearly every possible branch of engineering in our program. Also, maybe if you are interested, you can contact us later for more info about every single program you saw. But we really have a lot of programs, especially for engineering. If you're interested in apply, you still have, for next year, you still have time till March the 8th. But also there is another call for European students, which will start in March, in late March. The exact dates are not available yet. Yes, we also require a language certificate, which has a deadline, which is more later on, because we know that it's not something immediate to get a certificate if you don't have it now. Our the very basic entry requirement for our Master of Science are a bachelor, which is, of course, it must be related to the Master of Science we are applying for. This rule is particularly strict if you're talking about architecture and design. These faculties are very competitive because we have tons of applicants from all over the world, because we are really prestigious. So they have to be really strict about the requirements. So you can access to architecture only if you have studied architecture, and you can access to design only if you have a background in design. Minimum GPA is required only for some countries. If it's not specified in our website, it's not the case. And English language certificate, of course, because our lesson, nearly all of our courses are taught in Italian, as I mentioned before. The application is carried on entirely through our portal, so it is online. You just have to register, select your program, and upload all the required documents, which we'll see them. And then you have to pay the application fee, which is unfortunately it's not refundable, and it is 50 euros. And it is a necessary step to complete your application fee. Coming to the required document for Master of Science. Yeah, of course, your academic qualification, so your bachelor degree, transcript of records, which is the exam that you've done in your bachelor degree. Course description, it's a brief description of what exactly you've done in those courses, your CV, which is quite natural. A letter of motivation for every course you're applying to. In brief, you just have to explain why you want to choose Politecnico di Milano and that specific course for your future career. A letter of recommendation. It is just a letter generally from your professor, but if you are working, it is okay if it's done by your employer. It's just a letter that recommends you as a good student or a good person in general, and required. Then there's the portfolio, which is just for architecture and design. It is basically a collection of your most important work that you have done during your study in the bachelor degree. Pay attention. This is not the entire work, but only the work that is relevant to the problem you're going to. And then the GRE exam, which is not exactly a strict requirement. It is only for engineering and architecture. And in comparison to the other document required, the GRE is not compulsory. It just has the purpose to enhance your chance of being admitted. So if you don't have it, never mind. But if you have it, it increases your chance of being admitted. I mentioned that the language certificate for English is required, but the requirements for English are not particularly high. As you can see, we are talking about a higher B2, lower C1 level in English, which is compulsory. The only way you have to skip this requirement is having studied for all your entire bachelor in English. Entirely, not having just some courses, not having done just one course in Italian in English is not enough to skip those requirements. So if your bachelor was entirely taught in English, there is no need to submit a certificate. Otherwise, it's compulsory. Knowledge of Italian is not required if you're applying for a program taught in English, but we will give you an opportunity to study it, but we'll talk about this later. These are some general application tips. Of course, the most important one, you will scan through the website because it contains, apart from specific cases, it contains all the information that you require about document eligibility criteria for each course and the application guideline most fundamentally. Pay attention to the deadlines, of course. Of course, preparing well your document by checking spelling. Check often your inbox because while you're in the admission process, we will send to you a reminder or request for integration of your documentation. So it is very important to check your inbox often because sometimes you students tend to miss our communication, and this is quite unpleasant for us to remind them again. Sometimes they miss the chance to apply because they didn't see some of our advices or suggestions for their application. Motivation letter, of course, must be personal. Try to make it more memorable as you can. It is something related to you. And then I will start talking about a portfolio for architecture and design, but the tip is explain your works. What does it mean, explain your works? During your bachelor in design or architecture, probably you've done a lot of projects, and you can't put up all this project in your portfolio. So your portfolio must be very selective, and most of all, all this work must be related with the program you're applying to. But our teaching staff, as I say from my personal experience, it does not only want to see the final product of your work. They also want to see how you got there, how you got to the final product. So they also want to see intermediate phase of your work, because for them it's really important to understand how you work, how is your reasoning on design and on architecture. So be very selective and explain very clearly what you have done in your work. This is another fundamental application tip. Avoid the very last minute submission of application, because sometimes I've noticed in past year that in the last days there is a concentration of application, and this may cause our system to have problem, or worse, to have you can experience problem with the payment of the application fee. And if you submit it too late, too near the deadline, we may not be able to assist you if you have some problem. So and it's a pity. We don't want to lose potential students because just because our payment went wrong, or the student experienced technical issues. So if you can apply a little bit, don't wait to the very last day. That's my suggestion. Portfolio, as I said, avoid too many works and keep them relevant to the program. These are our fees for Master of Science. Non-EU students are paying 3,900 per year. Here it's a case of scholarship, whereas EU students, for EU students are basically assimilated to Italian students. So this means that your fee is calculated on the base of your family income. So you have to submit a lot of documentation to state your family income, and so then we can calculate your fees on the basis of your income. Of course, there are also scholarships which are merit-based. They're decided every year. It depends from various factors in general, from your GRE, your grades, your previous grades, and so on. I like merit-based scholarship, sorry, because they are very comfortable to you, because they do not need a separate application like other scholarship. This means that just by applying to Politecnico di Milano, if you satisfy the requirement and you are eligible to the scholarship, you get them. You don't have to fill in some separate application on other websites. It can be granted to you if you are eligible just when you are enrolled, basically. And it came from the silver merit-based scholarship, which is just a tuition fee waiver, which is not bad anyway. And there are also gold and platinum scholarship, which grants you also money plus the fee waiver. There are also additional scholarship offered by Italian government, but of course, these are not managed by us. We just want to advise you to check them if you want to apply for an additional scholarship, for example. As we are a very big university, we have a lot of students, and we also have a lot of facilities for our students, such as Italian foreign language courses. We'll talk about it later. Double degree exchange program. As I've said, we have a lot of them for every faculty. Service program, disabled students, Western activities. We are slowly turning back to activities in presence, as I mentioned before. Restriction for COVID will be over in the next month. We still have 1 month of restriction, but all these kind of restrictions to people, to rooms are supposed to slowly fade away in the next month. We offer a buddy program, which is, if you do this a request for a buddy, it means that you will have a senior student who can help you with your first day, with your daily life in the first time. So just in order to get accustomed to Milan, to Politecnico, to the student's life in general, it can be very helpful to have another student to help you, especially if you don't have you are not coming to Politecnico by a word of mouth, because you already know someone who lives here. So having someone that can help you also privately or for just to get accustomed to the city or to student life, it can be very, very useful to you. We also offer some accommodation, which but they have a separate application, sports facility, student association. As a student of Polimi, you also get discounts on theater museum, which is Milan School of Theaters and museum. So this is also to get your student life in Milan more pleasant and smoother. Yeah, there are just some images of the sport facilities. The one in the bottom left is next to my office, which is our brand new Giuriati campus, which was opened last year, if I remember well. So it is very new, and there are many sports facilities in Milan and also in our other campuses in the other towns of Lombardy. Coming to Italian language, as I mentioned before, this is not considered as an entry requirement of proficiency in Italian. Our core master degree are taught in English, so you can theoretically live for 2 years in Milan without having any proficiency in Italian. However, we strongly recommend the student to learn Italian. First of all, because it can be really useful during your daily life in Milan, because it is an international student city, but this does not mean that everyone can speak English to you. So in order to integrate yourself more with the tissue of the city, we recommend to learn Italian, or at least to have an intermediate proficiency, which can be really beneficial to your life here. And for doing so, we also offer Italian courses for free to our own students, because you are supposed to reach a certain level of Italian by the end of your degree. As I said, this is not an entry requirement for application to Italian. We only want our students to learn a little bit of Italian while they're studying here. So before graduation, you are supposed to demonstrate that you have reached a minimal level of Italian, which is not high, by the way. We just want to see that you improved during your stay in Milan. For example, if you come here with an A0, so with completely no proficiency in Italian, at the end of your path, your master degree, you just have to prove that you have reached an A1 level. So this is very, very easy. We just want to see a progression in your Italian proficiency. Of course, you can skip this part if you already have some proficiency, or you got a certificate of proficiency in Italian, like ACCIS or a CEI certificate, and so on. This is our career service. We are talking about Italian. We also encourage Italian because half of our international students tend to remain in Lombardy after their master degree. In our firms, maybe you are allowed to speak only in English, but they are generally very Italian based. So it really enhances your chances of being hired by our companies. Learn Italian, it can be really be an asset while you are living here, or you're planning to have a work experience in Italy. It really gives you a boost to candidates who only speak English, even if you have an intermediate level proficiency. So that's another reason why we insist you to learn a little bit of Italian. So it can be really important for your future career, and since you are really well connected to the industry, yeah, we can make your entry in the world of work very, very smooth. We have a very efficient career service because it organizes career guidance, companies on campus, job fairs, workshop, and can provide really a lot of internship with firms and industry in our region and in other European states, because also our professors are really well connected. So There is something really important for us because we are a technical university, so we will have a real impact on the job market, and this will boost your career having a technical degree, and as it is shown by our employability data. So even during the pandemic, most of our students are fully employed by the end of 1 year after the graduation, which is a lot high. Of course, it depends from your faculty because engineering tends to give you a real boost, and more than 95% of them it is employing just immediately the degree, or even before, because maybe they started working on the thesis in an industry or in a company, and they choose to stay there for. So for engineer is long-term, but this does not mean that for designer or architect it's so difficult. So we are really proud of our employability statistics and employability data. Just to reconnect with this last point, which what I said at the beginning about research. Our research is having a real impact on our industry, also through our innovation park, which is our PolyHub. What does a startup accelerator do? In practice, if you have an entrepreneurial idea, you have some patent, you have something innovative to propose, and you don't know where to start. Yeah, we can just help you if we decide that your project is worthy. So you can find help of our professionals, our professors, to help you to develop your own idea and launch your own startup. And given our connection with the industries, this can be done also with support of other firms and private funds. So we'll help you to find also an adequate funding for your idea, and then slowly become independent. It is really important for us because it can show you how it is important to make research and the impact that have on our industries. So just to sum up what we have saw in this presentation and why you should choose or at least consider Polytechnic of Milan for your career path. You will have high-level courses because as all the rankings show, we are pretty high in Europe on those rankings on our subject for engineering, architecture, and design. The international environment is also very important for your experience, not only as a student, but as broadly as a person. We are a top-ranked university, as I already mentioned. We have just saw that we are strongly connected with the job market, which is probably the most important thing for a student which is applying to a master's degree. And you have a real impact on your society through a technical degree, because our motto is to improve human life in a sustainable and responsible way. So these are our website and our contacts. If you want, you can contact us anywhere for every question regarding application and requirement. If you have a certain doubt that may arise later, if you think about it, feel free to contact us for any question. And coming to question, I would like to pass to the Q&A section if Karen agreed to this. Thank you for coming here, and let's see your question.
Hey, Gabriele, thank you for the presentation. There were a couple of questions, but we managed to answer during the presentation.
Okay.
So we're waiting for more questions.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a question about the English language certificate, but my colleague Lilia already answered.
I saw, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, about English certificate, the requirement, as you saw, as you can see in our website, are not particularly high. So, and plus the deadline is not the 8th of March. You can submit the certificate a lot later, which is the 20th of March, 20th of April, and you can still be considered eligible for merit-based scholarship. So no worries about that. We know that getting the certificate cannot be something that so immediate. So we allow students to submit it later. Same thing for the bachelor degree.
Can I add something? What you say, Gabriele, is about the applying for the Master of Science program.
Yes, it was focused
Yeah,
on master.
In case the applicant is interested in a bachelor program, there is a separate deadline, and it's according to the application procedure for the bachelor programs. That I wanted to just make clear.
Yeah, yes, regulation for bachelor. I work mostly with master degree, so because we tend to promote more of that program. But anyway, for just to sum up, for bachelor degree, there is a completely different application. I've said at the beginning that we tend to study in a little bit more in high school, but to apply for a bachelor degree, we required 12-year of scholarship, not of 13 like for Italian. So this is the very first thing to say. But in order to have access to bachelor degree, you have to pass an entry test, which is different for every faculty. There are more details on our website about the content of the test. The exact data are not coming. Still hasn't come out yet. They should be ready in the next couple of weeks, I think. So the entire process revolves around the fact that you are passing the test of the admission test.
Yes, I think most of the questions are regarding bachelor programs. Maybe, guys, if you're asking questions, you should really specify if you're interested in a master or a bachelor program. Gabriele is here to actually reply to your questions regarding the master programs.
Yes,
So,
if either question about bachelor are very general, I can reply to them, but they are, of course, free to contact us anyway. It's just that since the application for bachelor is a little bit more straightforward, as it is just about passing the test. They can just check the requirement for the test. I can maybe put a link in the chat if you believe. So,
for example, Stefania has a question if she needs to present Italian certificate if applying for a Bachelor of Architecture in Italian. And what we know, no.
No, because here's another interesting thing. We require a certificate for master because application for master revolves around submitting documents. There's just two big distinction. For master, it's more about submitting documents. For bachelor, is about passing the test. What does it imply? If the test is held in Italian, the main idea is if you are able to pass a test in Italian, it means that you have the necessary proficiency to study in Italian. So there's the reason why there's no need to submit a certificate in Italian if you're applying for a master. A bachelor taught in Italian.
Yeah. But this is very typical for Italy as a whole. And for example, Galina has a question about the preparation for the exam in architecture. And we would advise Galina to join tomorrow for the presentation of Lingua Viva, because they are going to explain how to prepare for different exams, for entry to different programs in Italy after high school, like architecture, medicine, and etc. So this will be focused on a presentation tomorrow, Lingua Viva.
Yes, I strongly recommend to attend it and also to help us as guidance as a reference, because they are very professional in this regard. So if you want to apply to Politecnico of Milan, I recommend to check for them to have advice and so on about application, because they've worked with us for many years and we can guarantee about the quality of their work. So.
Okay, can we try to read some questions so that you could reply? I don't know. Many questions, really.
They're in English, most of them. Can you see them also, Gabriela?
But if you want us to read them, just tell, so that it will be easier for us to read and you to answer, maybe.
If you already read them and they are similar, maybe we can just summarize them. But I'm reading some of them.
Yeah, again.
Scholarship. Scholarship about bachelor program. If you don't get some external scholarship, the main idea about fees is that since your fees are calculated on the basis of your family income, it can count just as a sort of scholarship if you can think about it. So yes, you just have to submit documents that prove that your family income. The lower your family income, the lower your fees, basically. That's how it works also for Italian students. So
Because these are regional scholarships. This is
yes.
Granted by the region of Lombardy. It's not by Politecnico di Milano.
Yes.
Okay, Denitsa is asking if she needs a portfolio to apply for Bachelor in Architecture. The answer is definitely no.
No,
There is an
of
entry
course.
test.
It is also difficult because general students do not have a portfolio. Portfolio is something that they do during their bachelor, so it makes no sense to ask it before having a bachelor.
Okay. The deadlines for the bachelor programs, I mean, they're not even published yet because you have to monitor the website. I can send a link, but it depends on the program. So it's not one deadline for all. Each program has a different application procedure and deadlines, of course.
It depends from the test.
Yes, but it's really not even ready. It's not.
No, they tend to come out later. In general, beginning of March, first half of March in January, but it really depends. So yeah, because most of them are managed at a national level, so they're not dependent on the university.
Yeah, so now I'm going to send the link to everyone,
yes.
Which is to the procedure for the Bachelor of Science application. And there you could see sublinks with information related to specific programs. So you have to find the one that is relevant for your interest.
Details on how to prepare the test, of course.
Yeah. All the information is going to be published there.
Yeah.
And Mario is asking if there is any mechanical engineering program. I don't know if he refers for a bachelor or a master.
I didn't understand if it's for a bachelor or a master too, but yes, we have a program of mechanical engineering for master degree. Yes, there is a master degree in mechanical engineering. So
We've had a lot of applicants for, but it's actually management engineering, I think. And I have to check if there is a mechanical engineering.
Yes, there is mechanical engineering, I can confirm.
Okay. And Tina is asking if she applies for civil engineering bachelor in English, can she submit results from GRE exam and not participate in the talk? Actually, this is not, it shouldn't be relevant. GRE is for entry to master programs.
GRE for master, yes.
And it doesn't substitute. The talk is something very specific for entry to bachelor programs in Italy. GRE and GMAT, these are for entry to master programs everywhere in the world, also in Italy, if required. If I'm correct.
Do not require them, it's just GRE.
Yeah, but it's only for the master programs, it's not for the bachelor ones, if it is required at all. Do you have a volleyball team?
This is very specific. For sure, we have a basket team and a soccer team, and generally we're very focused on athletics more. But I think we have it. It just I don't know if it's dependent on the campus of Milan or it is present or in some other campus. This is I'm not. I just go sometimes to the gym of the campus next to my office, but we have other sports facilities, but I don't know anything about volleyball. I'm sorry.
Okay. There is a very good question from Eva. Eva Arsenova. what are the usual expenses for living and where do the students normally live?
Well, we offer some kind of residence for students, but they are few and they are and they are not just in Milan, but also in other cities, and you have to fill in a separate application. So since the very large number of our students, most of them tend to live privately in Milan or in nearby city, because I want to highlight this. Milan it is a little bit more expensive than other Italian cities, but the cost of living is so really dependent on your private accommodation. But there's a very practical way to go around this, which is to live in a city which is next to Milan, such as Pavia or Monza. They are really well connected with Milan by train, so and their prices are considerably lower. So there's this little trick to. And you will be comfortable to study in Milan anyway, even if you live outside, because as a city is really well connected with the rest of Lombardy, with the nearby towns. So you won't miss anything about the life in Milan by living just a little bit outside. So the prices are really dependent, but I can link a section of our website maybe which is dedicated to that. I also want to mention the fact that you can work as a student in Italy. So you can work part-time, and also you can work inside the university. You have this program which is the so-called 150 hours, which is quite well paid for a student, and allows you to work inside the campuses. Basically, you will work with us, with administrative staff, and the pay is 13 euros per hour. So it is quite convenient, and we manage to make it compatible with your lesson and your studies. I also have a couple of students that work for me with this program, and they help me with emails, with other tasks, and they are paid for this. And we make sure that this is compatible with their lessons, their exam, and their study program. So this is probably the best option to help you sometimes to finance your study here.
And I just sent the link.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's really very useful. And it's a lot of information about different sectors of life that you could expect the price, the costs. So it's better to just look at the website because it's difficult to say everything.
Yes, of course, it is really dependent on your lifestyle, your accommodation. It is hard to say how much the expense will be.
Okay. I see that our colleague Lilia is answering to Tina.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some other questions above that we missed in between the other questions. So there is a question about green energy, and I cannot really find it right now.
There is a?
There is a very good question, yeah, from Nikolai Manchev.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any engineering programs which specialize in the green energy sector?
We have an energetic engineer program. We have the program of engineer, which is more very focused on sustainability, but in general, all research and we have many external projects which are revolves around this concept. So yes.
Okay.
The aspect of sustainability, to be honest, it permeates many other courses. So it is present in it is our philosophy, can I say? So you will find elements of this in many programs, not only program related to engineering.
Okay, now I see a question about how to register for the architecture tests. And again, I'm going to send the link to the procedure in the website, because nobody knows it actually by heart. You have to follow. the procedure that is going to be published for this specific year.
Yes,
So
because
you just
every year there are maybe some little changes to the program because it does not depend only on us. So
yeah, but here everyone can see test of architecture, test
Yeah,
days,
sure.
how to register. Of course, the information here is for the last year, for 2021.
yes, but you can use it as a general reference of what
Yes.
you do because there may be some little changes, but as in general they tend to remain quite similar to the previous year of the inter procedure. So.
Mm.
Guys, excuse me for interrupting. Can I just mention that the next presentation, Ca' Foscari University, is starting in 3 minutes. So the students that are interested to join the next presentation, they can pop in to the next link. The ones that are still willing to stay here, just stay here. It's different accounts, so it doesn't matter for us.
Okay,
Okay, bye-bye from me. Thank you very much,
Vinita.
Gabriele. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinita. So,
So
I don't want to steal time if they want to join other presentation. Anyway, I just want to remind that you can contact us if you have a further question, and you can refer to Skylines, to Evelina and Dimitar if you want assistance in joining Politecnico Milano in all the application procedure. So really that you can count on them if you want another help. Otherwise, you can also contact us if you have more detailed question or some doubts may arise with using about flying or not. So we will be glad to answer.
yeah, and I also, yeah, sorry, just wanted to remind again to everyone who is interested in the bachelor programs, please join tomorrow the presentation of Lingua Viva. You could also send your questions by email to Skylines. We can help with the preparation course, and we are absolutely here for you if you apply for a master program, because that's actually our main area of expertise. The bachelor programs is for the entry test that we could help, and with some orientation. Yeah.
Okay, I think that this is all. Again, contact us if you have a further doubts, and I hope to see you in Milan and to see you next year. Thank you, Skylines, and thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, Gabriele.
Bye.
So,